Welcome to Super Talk, the podcast that scratches your superhero itch. Just two suburban dads nerding out over superhero stuff on the small screen and the big. Buckle up, people. Enjoy the ride. Professor, like a gentleman, you ready?
Let's do it.
In 3.
Welcome to Super Talk, the weekly podcast dedicated to news and reviews of comic book media on the big and small screen. This is episode 119. I'm your host, Brian Professor Pettis, and with me, as always, my illustrious co-host, Titanium Tony Estrella. Titanium.
Big and small screen, huh? I guess that small screen.
Man. Look, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we do.
And I hope the audience is going to strap in and get ready, because I don't have a lot of nice things to say about some stuff that has happened here. And I'm not alone, which is good. Like, I was afraid that I might be alone in this, but then some of the reactions I've seen in the last few days have kind of given me a good feeling that I'm not the only one that feels this way. So, I'm not alone in this.
But you're not a sheep, right? You're not just following the herd.
No.
Okay.
No, which we'll discuss. Let's get into it. Well,
okay.
Let's get the show started. We want to thank the listeners that bring the show to you, our patrons. This is a website that if you want to support content creators like myself and Titanium, that put blood, sweat, and tears into a show for your entertainment, and you just want to give back and help support us and cover the costs of what it takes to put this together for you, we really appreciate it. And we've got some friends out there that are doing this. It's fantastic. So patreon.com/supertalk if you want to become a member. We really appreciate anybody that wants to join and help us out.
Yeah, appreciate the support.
All right.
Just to recap real quick, we got, Loki Season 2 trailer. We got Secret Invasion Season Finale. We got a little bit of news. And then the topic of the week, we're going to rank the Disney series so far, huh?
Yeah. Let's jump into it. I do want to speak a little bit about good news. So today, Marvel did drop the trailer for Loki Season 2.
Yeah.
Official full trailer. It's online, high definition. Look, you can tell they invested some money in this series. The special effects in the trailer were fantastic. They gave us a little bit of detail around the plot and some of the characters that we're going to see in the season. I probably have the highest expectations of any Disney Plus season ever for this particular season, simply because it is the first sequel to a season that we've seen on Disney Plus, and the first one was so good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the trailer was great. It didn't give away too much of the plot, but you know where it's going. I'm excited to see this. They did drop some money, absolutely. The special effects were pretty impressive. But after Secret Invasion and the high that I was on with that show, I'm not going to get my... I'm not going to get my hopes up too high on this. Still,
well, I don't think I'm alone in setting these expectations. I think everybody's looking forward to season 2 for multiple reasons.
Yeah, they need a win.
First reason was season 1 was so good.
It was.
Second reason, from what we understand and how this fits into not only the multiverse saga that we're currently in with Marvel right now, and the ramifications and repercussions of what's going to happen this season and how it pays forward into the rest of the MCU is huge, and we want to see that. Third reason is the cast was great the first time around. They're all back, and we've got a bigger cast now.
Yeah.
So we should expect more from this bigger cast. And again, as successful as season 1 was, we know they put some money into this, so I'm really looking forward to it. And Titanium just mentioned it, which we'll discuss a little bit tonight. They need to win. I think time. Disney Plus has had multiple simultaneous back-to-back failures over and over. And my fear right now, is that platform of Disney Plus as a medium to consume Marvel content is becoming less and less relevant because of the content that's being placed there. And this series could rescue that to some extent.
Yeah.
Look, there are some projects that we know are coming to Disney Plus in the future that I'm very excited about. The renewal of the X-Men animated series, X-Men 97, bringing that back, I think that's the perfect place to put it. It's the perfect place to house that content.
Daredevil.
And, Daredevil Born Again, extremely excited about. That should and could be kind of a tent pole for Disney Plus, and we know they're doing 18 episodes, which is unheard of. So I'm really excited about that. But everything else that's on the slate for Disney Plus right now, I'm kind of like extremely dubious. Other than Loki season 2, which is why I think this trailer was really important to get us excited.
Yeah, there was a scene in Loki season 2 in the trailer where Miss Minutes becomes this giant monster, like kind of
marching through the 1800s.
Is it going to be silly? I hope it doesn't get silly, because I hope it's not a Thor Love and Thunder silly kind of thing. I hope it's not. It looks intense, and I hope it stays that intensity. Again,
here's what we know.
I've said this before. I say it again. I think the whole multiverse time travel timeline is very confusing to the novice fan, and if they continually confuse fans, and they spent all of first season kind of explaining the TVA, explaining the timeline, the sacred timeline, explaining the split of the timeline and everything. So I think they did a really good job on that, and hopefully that doesn't interfere with this. So
well, and we know. Not only does it fit into what's going on in this current phase of projects that we got going on with Marvel in the multiverse saga, but we know it fits into Deadpool 3 as well, which I'm extremely excited to see how this series ends with maybe a teaser, because that's coming early next year. We know the TVA.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we know the TVA is involved in that. So I'm extremely excited. So great to have that trailer today. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Really well done. Again, as Titanium mentioned, gave enough kind of stuff to get you excited, but not too much to give away certain plot details. And Tom Hiddleston is and continues to be just one of the massive home runs from a casting perspective that Marvel has ever had. He could play that character for the rest of his life, and we'd watch him, right? So and it's great.
The fact that he time slips in front of a jet ski dealership was one of my... I was like, finally! Yeah. Finally!
Great.
That's great.
It'll be great. Okay, and then our other review this week is our full review of the Secret Invasion series finale, episode 6 that dropped last week. I frankly don't know where to start here. I will say I want to start our review of this with 2 words, and they really summarize how I felt after I watched this. Bitter disappointment. This is probably the most disappointed I have been watching a Marvel product in its final form, in a final episode, or the movie or whatever it is, ever.
Wow.
Like, you and I just talked about this last week, Titanium. Up until this past week, I had been enjoying Secret Invasion. I was looking forward to some of these little plot pieces kind of coming to a crescendo and getting to an end and figuring out what's going to happen here. I was really looking forward to seeing the finale. I was really looking forward to what we might see in cameos and how they tie all these different plot pieces together. And I was so angry when I got done watching it. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that.
Yeah. They didn't tie anything, really.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give, like, literally, and Titanium can time me here, I'm going to give a 30-second summary of what happened in the episode, and then we'll talk about the episode. So, plot synopsis. So, Fury goes to Russia to confront Gravik. It's really Gaia pretending to be Fury. She's a Skrull. She changes into Fury's persona, goes there to confront Gaia. She's pretending to have sickness from the nuclear reactor and faking it the whole time. She gives Gravik the Harvest in a vial so that he can use it in his machine to become a Super Skrull in exchange for him leaving the planet. He uses it and turns on Fury, surprisingly, only to find out that they've both been turned into Super Skrulls and they have this massive battle. Gaia ends up killing Gravik, and now she's a super-powered Super Skrull. Fury and Falsworth go try to free President Ritson from Rhodey. They confront Rhodey. Rhodey, true colors shown. He gets shot in the head, revealed to be a Skrull. President Ritson declares all-out war on any alien-born person who's on Earth,
right,
and basically says it's all-out war. We're going off again. We're going after anybody who's not born from on the Earth. Goes off of that. And then Fury decides to go back to the space station with his wife, Priscilla. They make up, and the two of them head up into the space station. Yeah. There's the episode.
Yeah. Basically, they head up because there's talks of the Kree and Skrulls peace talks, and he needs her help kind of navigating those peace talks. But yeah, that's basically the episode.
That's the episode.
Yeah.
Okay, now we need to talk about all of the fundamental problems that I had with this episode, and there's many of them. And it really stems from a handful of things. I'm going to give Marvel a pass on the scientific concept behind, we have a single vial of clear liquid which contains DNA samples of every Marvel character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we are able to use this one vial to then embark those DNA properties on a single Skrull individual. So I'm going to give him a pass on the, we'll just call this sci-fi and not science, because the fact that you can, if I was going to take your DNA and mix it with a sample of my DNA into a single vial, that would kind of spoil that sample, and like multiple strands of DNA are now intermixed and intermingled, and how can you tell one apart from the other?
Newsflash, there is no stone that can turn back time. So we got through that. We can get through this, but I get what you're saying.
All right, so let's get
beyond. It would have been better if that vial held these little colored pellets that contained each of their DNA. Green for Hulk, red for, that would have been, but whatever.
Okay, I'm going to get beyond that and say there is a single vial that contains DNA strands of every single character in the MCU. So Nick Fury explained what the harvest was. He said during the battle of Endgame, the final battle against Thanos and his minions at Endgame, every Avenger bled. So everybody bled, and they all left DNA across the battlefield. And he sent Skrulls, including Gravik, to go collect this DNA. Mm-hmm. And then when they were showing on the computer screen all the DNA samples that were part of the harvest, there were people, or we'll say MCU characters, in that DNA harvest that weren't at the battle, the final battle at Endgame. Mm-hmm. The Abomination was one of those samples. Abomination wasn't there.
No.
We know where Abomination was. We found out in She-Hulk where Abomination was, in jail.
Yeah.
So how did that sample become part of the harvest? Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, that movie, was part of that harvest. Where the hell did Ghost DNA sample come from? And why was it part of the harvest?
Yeah.
That fact that wasn't explained, not only does it contain, and all you had to say, another sentence, Nick, so we have been collecting DNA samples of every person, superhuman person we've ever encountered, including all of those that died in the final battle at Endgame, would have covered that. Yeah. But the fact that wasn't said, you're including people that were never part of that final battle at Endgame in the harvest, bothered me.
Yeah.
I like that right there. I'm like, what? Abomination? Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So that big time bothered me. Let's also make this assumption that every superpower that every individual has, or ability, is DNA based. Okay. The fact that we know Captain Marvel Her powers came from her body being imbued with cosmic energy from the Tesseract. An explosion. And her body is now resident with that cosmic energy. Her DNA was not altered to the extent that she now imbued cosmic energy. She has cosmic energy from the Tesseract. So how is changing somebody's DNA to have the same properties of Carol Danvers give her those powers? Problem number one. So we're saying DNA-based powers, okay? Ghost has energy from the quantum realm, which basically converted her into this being that's like, partially transporting between the quantum realm and Earth. That's not a DNA-based issue. That's this energy from the quantum realm that's basically part of her body. You don't get that from DNA. You get that from being imbued with that energy. So again, I have fundamental problems with they took the fact that as long as I have the same DNA as the person who has these powers, I will have those powers. That could absolutely be said for others. I guess Bruce Banner imbued with gamma radiation and it changed his DNA to the extent that, maybe, but the DNA doesn't have the radiation. His bloodstream has the radiation. So that, again, these are issues that I've had. But there's other parts of it, like, okay, Drax. And the only reason I even mention his name, like, who would even choose to use the powers of Drax, the Destroyer, from Guardians of the Galaxy? But, at one point in time, Gaia's arm turns into Drax's arm. Well, his arm is tattooed. His arm doesn't look the way it is because that's naturally DNA-wise, that's the way it is. Those are tattoos that were put on his body. How do you get tattoos from DNA? You don't.
Okay.
So the fact that all of these powers were just assumed to be DNA based, that as long as I had the DNA of the people who had these powers, then I have these powers, big stretch. So I had a problem with that.
Okay.
Next problem. Just because I have these now abilities from this DNA sample that I got, and they've been, this machine gave me all these powers because I now can replicate the DNA of the people who had these powers. Okay, let's just say that I kind of understand, even though I don't understand that. How the hell would I know how to use them? You've been given powers, and all of a sudden you're an expert in how to use them. Not only do you know you have these powers, you know what they do and how to use them.
Wow, it's an angry professor.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm and this was it wasn't hours. It was immediate.
Yeah.
A machine soaked my body with some kind of energy that imbued the DNA properties of all these individuals, and now I have this intricate knowledge of not only what those powers are and which one has that specific power and how to tap into it.
Well, I tell you what, the Abomination and Ghost DNA sample gathering, that bothered me.
Yeah.
But those last two, you kind of lost me. I'm in your camp as far as that, but being able to gain these powers from DNA, you're splitting hairs. That's deep dive into sci-fi. But the other one is, how do they automatically use it?
How do they know about it?
How do they know about and how to use them?
Oh, let me tap into Captain Marvel's powers. Oh, all of a sudden I know I have this energy blast and I can fly. It's how do you know that?
Well, they are alien lizards,
Professor. When Peter Parker first got bit by a radioactive spider, he didn't know he could walk on walls.
No.
He had to figure that out over time.
Yeah.
So if, and it wasn't, thankfully, but if Spider-Man's DNA got into these two Skrulls, would they be oh, let me just start scaling walls? Well, how would you know you could do that?
Right.
Do you understand my point there?
I get it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that bothered me.
Well, Spider-Man did bleed on that field. I didn't see his
He did, but for some reason his DNA wasn't part of the harvest.
Right.
At the end of the day, the two of them fight.
And the fact that they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man.
Right.
For this, right? Sony wouldn't let them use Spider-Man for this.
So the two of them are fighting, and at times, again, they're choosing to use the powers of different people, and I think it's all fan service. Oh, let me show you what Drax's arm looks like. Let me show you whatever. And, if you have Hulk or Thanos level strength or even Cull Obsidian level strength. Why would you pick anybody else? If you're looking for something strong.
Right.
The fact that Gravik reverted to his Skrull form and was using his Skrull form to kind of change into these different beings, and Frank, the fact that only their arms were changing was kind of strange as well. It wasn't like their whole bodies, just their arms.
Right.
But Gaia was still in human form, and the only reason is because it's Emilia Clarke.
Right.
It's not because, why would he revert to Skrull form and she's still human form?
Right.
That was strange too. But okay, she wins the fight and kills Gravik somehow, some way. No longer able to heal from extremist powers or whatever. She kills him.
That bothered me.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't they have the power to heal wounds? Right.
Right.
Okay. No longer able to do that. She overcomes that.
Although Tony Stark did kill the henchman on Air Force One with his center laser beam. The guy, he blew a hole.
Gave them a wound that they couldn't rapidly heal from.
Yeah.
Right. Like your heart or your brain or something like that. I get it. Okay. So let's say that happens. So now we have Gaia, this individual in the MCU who has the powers of every Marvel Cinematic Universe character that has ever been on screen. And so we have a singular character who's now the most powerful individual in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Just walking around.
A 5'4", 98-pound Emilia Clarke is the most powerful being in the
name an MCU character, and she has the ability not only to tap into their powers, but knows how to use them at any given point in time.
Right.
And Sonya Fallsworth is like, hey, we can agree, we can disagree. We're not always going to get along, but you should come work for me.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that convenient?
I'll help you. You help me.
Just the fact that she exists. Now, I would have been okay with the fact that they realized that this was a temporary grant. It happened and it only lasted for an hour.
That would
have been okay.
Yes.
Okay, the machine works, but it only lasts temporarily. It doesn't completely change or alter your DNA. It's not a temporary imbuement of power. And the machine was destroyed in the fight, and it can never happen again.
She never was destroyed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now we have this Gaia running around with the powers of the Hulk, Thanos, Captain Marvel, Black Panther for some reason is in there. All these. Did she go into the nether realm of the Wakandan people and speak to the other Black Panther? It's just like you have this person that has this ultimate power now, and what are you going to do with her in the MCU? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's game over. There's nothing else to do.
Okay.
Yes, I'm with you there. That one, I'm in your camp.
So that. I can't even believe they made that happen. And I love Emilia Clarke. She's fantastic. Obviously, huge fan of Game of Thrones. Was wonderful. Glad she's in the MCU. But now, hey, let's just we got a problem. Let's just call Gaia. She can fix it because she's got every superpower ever imaginable.
Exactly.
Why call Captain Marvel?
Right.
Let's call Captain Marvel with Hulk's strength.
Well, Greg Vire has a question. Speaking of that, Greg Vire's question basically is, well, now that Gaia has all this unbelievable, unlimited power of everybody, and she can fly through the universe like Captain Marvel, why couldn't she just go out and find a planet it's only 1 million Skrulls? It's not like they even need a whole planet. Why couldn't she just fly out and find a planet for them to live on? And I think the example he asked was, what about that planet that Thanos was on, where he had retired as a farmer?
There's two answers to this question. The theoretical answer of, from what scientists have told us, there's over 1 billion inhabitable planets across the universe.
Right.
One of them has got to be okay for 1 million Skrulls to live on.
Sure.
Hospitable to their climate, to
Even
whatever.
if it was a little
food
radioactive.
sources, whatever. Yeah, they could figure it out.
Right.
They could find one.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the reasons why the Skrulls were so pissed at Fury, because they're like, there's 1 billion planets out there. You couldn't find us one, dude. Right? Yeah. So they had good reason to be pissed.
Or he was sandbagging because he was benefiting
and
he
used
needed
them.
Yeah, he used them.
The right answer is because if she was able to find them a planet and they did leave, we wouldn't have the never-ending threat of Skrulls on Earth. We would never have the never-ending threat of the Skrull portraying a head of state or a leader in power. And the fact that they haven't left and they're still here and we are hunting them down means that now there's this never-ending threat that we can always allude to and talk about and discuss in the MCU.
Yeah.
So that's the real reason.
Yeah,
because it's a plot mechanism that the Marvel doesn't want to get rid of.
Correct.
Of course they could do that.
Yeah.
They should have done that years ago, but they didn't. Right? So, and then now let's get into the whole Rhodey thing. Okay, so revealed within the show was that James Rhodes, Rhodey, War Machine, was a Skrull. And the big question that all of us as fans had was, well, how long has Rhodey been a Skrull?
Correct.
When did this happen?
Correct.
And what we've been led to believe, based on how it was revealed to us at the end of the show, they find Rhodey and Everett Ross and other people in the Skrull base there, in those machines, that they had been placed there. We saw Rhodey and Everett Ross get woken up right next to each other, and Everett Ross leans up and says, Colonel Rhodes, how long have you been here? No answer to the question, by the way, but how long have you been here? But we see that he can't walk.
Yep.
He's in a hospital gown.
Yeah.
And they're basically carrying him out. Makes us believe that he was replaced when he was injured in Civil War, went into the hospital, either never had his surgery or never went through the physical therapy after the surgery to get better, and that was a Skrull that actually did that. And so from that point forward, so let's see, end credits of Captain America Civil War, all the way through every movie that James Rhodes has been in, and there's been not only movies but projects. Was in obviously Infinity War, he was in Endgame, he was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he's now in Secret Invasion. Skrull the entire time. Went to Tony's funeral, cried on the battlefield when he died.
Yep.
All these things, that was a Skrull. That is a real kick in the fucking nuts to every MCU fan out there that was not James Rhodes.
Right.
What do you think about that?
They never come out and confirm it. We're made to believe that's it.
Convenient.
Really, yeah. It's
so convenient that they never gave us that answer.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. I agree with you. They never came out and gave us that answer, which is one of the biggest problems that I have, not answering some.
And that was the one the biggest answer we wanted to be answered. Like, when did this happen?
And they make you believe it's at the end of Civil War, and the rest of his appearances in all those other projects were really now in question. And very even the director of Secret Invasion came out and said, well, you guys are going to have to decide for yourself. It would make sense that after Civil War, but it's not, he didn't confirm it. He didn't deny it, but he didn't confirm it. And he said, it's just better if you guys decide for yourself.
Passing the buck.
Yeah,
passing the buck.
It's absolutely insane. The
same thing with Everett Ross. Everett Ross was in Black Panther. Black Panther with Wakanda Forever. All the things that happened to Everett Ross. When did he get replaced? Yeah. And how long has he been a Skrull?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is as damning as what happened to James Rhodes, but it's like, come on.
Well,
the fact that we didn't get this answer.
People were speculating that Ross was wearing the same shirt at the end of Black Panther 2 that he was wearing when he came out of the Skrull mine thing.
So it would have been after Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, which would be, we would be okay with that. And we found that James Rhodes had been replaced after Endgame, that would have been okay with that, right? But the fact that it was during Civil War, it makes you go back and look at all those other movies that he was in and go, okay, that was a Skrull. And by the way, the character he portrayed in the show was a prick. And we didn't see that version of James Rhodes in any of those other projects. Right? So it makes you feel like he was playing somebody different.
Yeah.
And I think the director purposely made him want to be that way. Hey, you got to show the difference from the real James Rhodes. Oh, okay. So huge problem. You and I are not the only ones that have a big problem with this. Everybody out there has a big problem with this. This is like, And we had theorized about this, and I had theorized that Rhodey was going to be a Skrull, but my theory was it was going to be before Civil War, or before he got hurt, and we'd find out that he's not hurt anymore, which would have been kind of a convenient way to say, his spine was never broken, he's fine. And I would have been okay with that too. All you had to do, Marvel, and it may have cost you another $1 million, and you spent $200 million on this show, and all you had to do, flashback scene, James Rhodes sitting in an office gets a call from Tony Stark saying, Rhodey, I need you in where was the fight in Civil War? What was the airport? It was in Germany. I need you in in Germany. I need you there. I need you in Germany. I need you now. Let me grab my suit. I'll be on my way. And then knocked over the head, knocked out, memory stolen. He's taken the Skrull. Boom, it's over. Now we know when it happened. They didn't do it. They didn't give us the answer. They alluded to it. It's all gray area. Conveniently, we don't have to admit to anything, but you can guess at when this would have happened. I mean, the fact they did that to us as fans, I'm angry about it. And you know what?
Lazy writing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Disservice.
Yeah.
Disservice to the fans, and hold your thought there on the lazy writing.
I got it.
The other part of this that pisses me off is several of these main characters we saw on the show were being held captive in the main Skrull facility, New Skrulls there, on the nuclear facility.
Yeah.
So let's say James Rhodes was captured before Civil War, and we've had a Skrull playing him before Civil War, and that body has been sitting there in that machine since Civil War on a ex-nuclear facility.
Right.
Do we think the radiation would have zero effect on his tissue and body and everything else?
What about all the people in the pods in the basement?
Well, that was a different building, so I get that. Okay. So that's in a different place. So the thing we saw after that, where Fallsworth and Gaia went and saw all those other bodies in this big building, I think that was a different building in a different place.
Okay.
So that you can explain away.
Okay.
But I'm talking about Everett Ross, James Rhodes, the two doctors that they had taken over, the Prime Minister of England, all these people that were sitting there in the Skull base that were human, not immune to radiation. I don't care if you're in a catatonic state, having your memories, completely being wiped or whatever it is. Radiation will have an effect on your tissue. And the fact that there was no mention of that, conveniently, we saw Gaia, pretending that Fury was having radiation sickness and taking, iodine pills and all this other stuff when he walks on site. But these people were fine when they woke up.
Yeah, and the soldiers that were getting them were fine.
Oh. Okay. And then, the bodies that were found by them in this, big basement, when we saw, thousands of bodies in this place that had been taken over.
Where were all the other Skrulls?
What do you mean, where are all the others?
Skrullos, where were they?
And what happened to them?
Yeah.
Well, we know Gravik killed many of them off, and then he said he sent them away. Remember Fury asked him, where's everybody else? He says they've been sent away. So we don't know where they were sent, but yeah, they were sent away. And then the ending, completely anticlimactic. Oh, we realize that Fury loves his wife even though he knows she's a Skrull, and even in her Skrull form he still loves her, and they're going to go back up to the space station and live a happily ever after and all this other stuff. And I'm like, and then I was waiting for the post-credit scene for a cameo by somebody or a lead-in. One of the things you've surmised is that this series is a lead-in to Captain America 4, Brave New World. And we did get kind of the illusion of how...
Or the Marvels or
how
something.
President Ritson is not going to be president anymore because, Fury says, well, that seems like a one-term president kind of decision. So we know this is how likely Thunderbolt Ross becomes president. That's a lead into that.
And we know that he mentions a summit with the Kree and the Skrulls.
The Kree and the Skrulls.
And the Krees are in the Marvels.
We know the Krees are part of the Marvels.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's an allusion to that. But I don't know of any plot in the Marvels about the Skrulls on Earth and us hunting them down. I don't think that's a part of that movie plot. And if people are waiting for the Marvels to answer questions from this series, you're smoking something, because Marvels ain't going to answer any of these open questions from this series at all.
Yeah.
And look, again, I mentioned at the start of this, bitter disappointment. Way too many questions unanswered. The way they handled certain situations. You mentioned it, Tony. Look, the writers are on strike right now, and yes, they do deserve more. They do deserve a bigger piece of the pie. They're incredibly important. But this is one more example of bad, lazy writing by the people at Marvel Studios in regards to how they're treating the characters, how they're treating storylines. It seemed rushed. It seemed like they took shortcuts. Yeah. It seemed like they made massive edits. They completely screwed up the storyline. They never answered the questions that they created. They created questions in our mind and never answered them. Horrible writing.
Yeah.
One of the worst, I'll say worst written now. Up until this last episode, I was enjoying myself.
No question. And I want to reiterate that. Up until this last episode, I was all into this. I thought it was a great spy thriller. I thought the story was moving along nicely. And then this just really jumped the shark, man.
It was horrible.
It was bad.
I mean, this has probably been, in my opinion, has been one of the best casts we've had in a Marvel Disney Plus series. Like top to bottom. Yeah. You know,
I said it before.
From Fury to Fallsworth to Rhodey to Talos. The cast was off the charts good, and the acting was very good.
Very good.
I thought, I was enjoying it, and it just completely got lost and broken at the end. I mean, and again, they spent $200 million on this series.
On what?
I know.
Yeah, on what?
So I did want to mention, and I'd seen this. This is now, so the finale had a 17% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. The series as a whole is now like 34% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, Rotten Tomatoes is not the end all be all of
I fucking hate that site.
Whatever.
It's
however,
bullshit.
The fact that this is the lowest rated Marvel project, well, actually, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is actually lower than it on Rotten Tomatoes, which doesn't surprise me.
And I don't think the Eternals is up there, do you?
Well, so the 4 lowest rated projects in Marvel's history, inclusive of Disney Plus, are Thor: Love and Thunder, The Eternals, Secret Invasion, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. All after Endgame. Yeah. All post-Endgame projects. You got some splaining to do, Marvel. You have some... look, we've talked about some of the projects we've seen here recently. Doctor Strange 2, kind of a miss. Thor: Love and Thunder, a miss. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, big miss. The only bright spot has been Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which was a huge home run because we had a director who believed in the product,
was a good storyteller,
believed in the actors, and the story he was telling, was given full reign to do his story, and was left alone, and that was a huge project. I do have faith at Loki Season 2 because it's the entire cast coming back, same director coming back, same writers coming back. I do have faith in that project, but Marvel, you have been really struggling recently, and you got some makeup to do, bud.
Yeah, and what do you think Echo is feeling like right now?
Well, any question as to why they're going to drop that thing in one fell swoop on Disney Plus? They've never done it before.
No.
Why do you think they're doing it now?
I'm not looking forward to that at all now. I mean, just pitiful. And you're right. Yeah, they're going to drop it all at once. I think Loki Season 2, they need a win under their belt, and I think that will give it to them.
I mean, but we talked about the new Marvels trailer last week. Are you any more excited about that now after the finale of season Secret Invasion?
Not at all. No, none. Not at all. And we'll get to our rankings in the topic of the week. But
all right. So anything else you want to say about the series? I know I've been ranting, and I'm sorry. I'll apologize to the audience, but I had to get it off my chest. I was really, really, really upset. Partly because I love Samuel L. Jackson. I think his version of Nick Fury is awesome.
Yep.
And I loved this series enough that he was entertaining me, and then this final episode just completely threw me over the edge.
Yeah, I was enjoying the series, to be honest with you. I really liked it. I thought it was great, but this finale, it just did not close anything out. It didn't answer any of the questions. Bad writing, silly CGI. I agree with you somewhat. I really thought that if they've closed this on a strong note, it would be one of the highest rated shows on Disney Plus, because I thought it started out that good. But it did not. It was the one word I would say is disappointing.
Well, if anybody asks the question, what's the Marvel equivalent to DC Superman? We know it's Gaia now is the answer.
Jesus.
Right.
That doesn't make sense at all. That just really, it kind of irritates me that they left that out there. I mean, it just okay.
It's like we went to watch the finale of Secret Invasion, and we ended up watching Oppenheimer and found out that they created the nuclear bomb, and it happens to be Gaia, and now it's just walking around the Earth. So
it's kind of like Morbius was not great. It was okay, and then the end credit scenes absolutely destroyed it.
That's again
absolutely destroyed it. The end credit scenes of Morbius were so bad, it absolutely destroyed anything that you felt at that movie.
Well, speaking of Morbius, we'll go into our news items, and first item on the list is big announcement from Sony Studios. They've made some massive changes to their schedule, all in response to the writers and actors strike that's going on right now. Some pretty big delays that they announced. And you pulled this up, Titanium. Beyond the Spider-Verse, the sequel to Across the Spider-Verse, which we saw this summer, has now been delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, TBD.
And the fact that this movie had primarily been filmed completely.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's done.
Yeah.
And the voice actors have already recorded all of their parts for this movie, so the actor strike really can't play a role here. The script has already been written, so how's the writer strike affecting this? The animators are really the ones that are kind of still doing work here, so I don't know why they would delay this indefinitely, other than for the promotional aspect behind, get behind this movie and going out and promoting it, and the actors can't do that. Here's the good news about it, I guess. An indefinite delay tells me that they are just delaying the release. It's done. They're ready to go, or there's, putting the final piece, touches on it, and they'll release it when they're ready. But there's nothing that's like, oh, we can't get the actors back in studio, or, oh, we're waiting for script rewrites and we can't get those. There's nothing like that. It's just we don't know when these things are going to end, so we're just going to delay it indefinitely.
Yeah, definitely. Very disappointing. So that was probably one of the biggest projects I was looking forward to, is that part 2 of that 2-part.
Yeah, because we ended on a cliffhanger.
We ended on a cliffhanger, so.
And we also had a big delay for Kraven the Hunter. We just got a big trailer for that last month. And now that's been delayed till August 30th of next year, right? So that's a huge delay for them.
That's a big one.
That's huge.
I think a lot of it has to do with...
When was that supposed to come out?
The actors and stuff. November.
November this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that the actors can't promote the movie, they can't be part of the red carpet and all these other things. So they delayed it, 10 months?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Well, here's another thing. All these studios, all these shows, besides Aquaman, who went through 3 reshoots. I think they can't do any reshoots with them. So what they got is what they got. I don't think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a lot more delays. And
here's a question I'm going to ask you about Kraven. But go ahead.
I think maybe the Marvels might be pushed.
There's some theories out there that Marvel may be pushing the Marvels movie from its November release date
because they can't promote it with the actors.
Because they can't do any promotion.
Yeah, they can't do any.
So no announcements from them yet, but there's a lot of theory out there that it could be pushed, and that would delay everything else beyond it.
We know Madam Web is done, but I think that's going to be pushed. People are saying, no, we'll get that in 2024.
You're not going to release a movie without the promotional aspect. You're not going to, you can't just release trailers. You can't have a red carpet without the actors. You can't, they're not going to go on the Today Show or the Tonight Show or whatever. You don't have that. It's really hard to promote a movie and be successful. So I get that. I did want to ask you about Kraven. So what chance do you think the delay includes they want to do some reshoots? Because there really was not a very positive response to the trailer. in the way that the character was being portrayed. Do you think that they're maybe using this delay as a way to go back and refactor and reshoot some of the movie to kind of be more of the movie that the fans are looking for?
I'm crossing my fingers.
We're hoping for that,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of these movies, they need reshoots. They're going to need to do reshoots and things like that at their final test screening for audiences and the feedback from them. But I think, again, the biggest problem I have with that, and you and I both agree on this, is that he's no anti-hero. He is a villain. And this movie makes him out to be an anti-hero, a type of hero guy, a good guy. And to do that to a villain, a well-known villain, is, I think, criminal. And I don't, I mean, it's the whole Black Adam thing.
The Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Not the not so bad six. Okay.
Anyway. Frustrating.
And then we have announcement of Venom 3 is now scheduled to be released next July, right? So, again, very early on, no talks about the plot and what the movie's going to be about. And
I didn't even know it was filming.
Is it filming?
I don't know.
If it was filming, it's not filming anymore, right?
Nothing's filming anymore.
Right. So
we got Deadpool 3 that's filming, that's been put on hiatus. Daredevil, Born Again, put on hiatus. All these projects that have just stopped dead in their tracks. I think we're going to get pushback.
Yeah, these strikes aren't good. Yeah.
And do you think the strike will end this year?
I think if it doesn't, we could think about this, Titanium. We could go months without a new release in the theaters and without a new release. I mean, this is not just affecting theater releases, which we expect and count on every week. We get a new movie out every week or every other week at least. That could, it could be another COVID. We're 6 months behind. We're just not releasing anything. But think about it, it's also affecting all the streaming properties, all the movies and series that are on streaming. They'll be affected as well.
The theaters are going to soon take another hit, a big hit.
This is massive. I mean, they got to figure this out, and again, it's just like the perfect chemical formula of the writers and the actors at the exact same time, having similar issues and banding together and standing behind each other and holding the studios hostage. You can't do one without the other. You get the writers back, but you have no actors, you're screwed. You get the actors back, you have no writers, you're screwed. It's a perfect storm right now. So we'll see. Here's one that I really want to hear your opinion on, Titanium, because I know how passionate you are about this. We learned that it's going to be revealed that Agatha Harkness, in her new series, Agatha Covenant Chaos, I guess it's now called, will be revealed to be a bisexual in a relationship with Aubrey Plaza's character in the show.
Doesn't bother me at all. I actually can't wait to see them kiss. But here's the thing. Here's why does sexual orientation need to be in the news, or
why are we even drawing attention to it?
Drawing attention. Just do it. Just make it happen. We don't need to make
do it organically. Don't draw attention to it.
Why? Yeah. You don't need.
Well, you know why.
It doesn't need. Well, it's what the world is today, but it doesn't need to be. If it happens, great. I'm all for it. Again, like I said, but it doesn't need to be the main.
The fact that they're drawing attention to it makes it something that is more than it needs to be.
Yeah. It really doesn't. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. Andrew Garfield recently interviewed and was asked about the chances of him coming back and playing Spider-Man again in the future, and his comments were very, I'll say, it's hard to take from what he says.
He's a liar.
With a grain of salt. Yeah. But he basically said, look, even if I never come back and play this character on the screen again, if I never come back and play this character, we know he's out there being Spider-Man, saving people and doing his thing. Like, in his universe, he still exists and he's doing stuff. That being said, you and I both know high probability he comes back in Secret Wars. I think that's like almost a no-brainer at this point in time that him and Tobey Maguire come back for Secret Wars, just because of how impactful and successful they were in No Way Home. I mean, you just have to do that. And if Sony agrees to it, obviously we have to talk about that. But there's been big theories that Spider-Man needs to cross over with Venom and what Sony's doing with the Venom universe at some point in time, and the theories have been, isn't this a great way to reintroduce Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man back into the Sony universe and make Andrew Garfield like the main Spider-Man of the Sony universe? That makes a lot of sense too. And who knows? But
Yeah.
he's a total guy, after what happened with No Way Home, nobody believes the thing that comes out of his mouth. It's like, okay, even if you were filming a project, you're not going to tell us, right?
I like Andrew Garfield. I like Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland, I think, is the perfect Spider-Man. I really like him a lot. What Sony does with their Spider-Verse and their Spider universe that they're trying to create, it will be interesting, and I'm excited to see where it goes after Madam Web. And that is one movie I'm not excited about whatsoever, but I want to see what direction they're heading.
Is that kind of like maybe one of those movies that's going to be the glue behind the Spider-Verse, right?
I think I think Madam Web will set up the Spider-Verse, their Spider Universe moving forward.
Yeah. Really taking what they've done with Across the Spider-Verse and kind of wrapping it up into like a cinematic, live action.
A cohesive storyline moving forward based off of what happens in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. And the fact, and this is, you're alluding to something that I kind of don't mind, in that the fact that we haven't heard so much about Madam Web, the fact that we haven't seen a lot about it. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of even behind the scenes photos from that when they were filming, is okay with me, because again, I don't expect too much from that property, and whatever they give us, I'm going to probably be happy with.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did get confirmation this week from Adam Driver again, and I'm going to give my opinion on this statement, but he did come out and say that he turned down the role of Reed Richards. He was offered the role and turned it down because he couldn't connect with the character. He read a lot of the print, he read a lot of the comics, and he just never really associated with or couldn't connect with the character of Reed Richards. It didn't really fit him.
He couldn't connect with the number they were going to put in his bank account.
Bingo.
That's what he fucking couldn't connect
Bingo.
with.
That's
let's
where
be
I was
honest,
going with this.
But he's
trying to save face with the fans.
Very nice, and it was very politically correct for him to go in that direction.
Because he didn't want that wrath of the Marvel fans.
Correct.
on
really? Is that how much money we have to pay you to be in our universe?
Right.
So, yeah, but come on.
It was a convenient statement.
He couldn't connect with his bank account number.
They didn't have my ACH number, fortunately.
Venmo me.
Right, exactly. All right, well, let's get into the topic of the week, brought to us by our friends over at Studio GG Studios. I'm the main man, Corner of the Cop. What's going on with Goat? You said Goat's going on a road trip. When's this happening?
He left this weekend. The first stop was Clarksville, Tennessee, to visit his son, who is an elite Army Ranger and a very high-end kind of squad. I guess they wanted to see him before he gets deployed.
Yeah.
He's getting sent somewhere probably pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to go spend some time.
Well, that's
with
where
him.
they send the Rangers, man.
That's
They don't send them into peacetime places.
No.
They send them to go kick some ass and take some names.
He's got like a couple of weeks of training out in the woods, and then they're going to send him, deploy him. And we obviously don't know. It's his unit is probably pretty hush hush. So.
Right. All right. So if you want to go check in on
the new video, he'll be dropping something very soon.
He's doing a vlog of his trip across country. If you want to check that, go to Studio GG Studios YouTube page, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of stuff there for you to take a look at.
It'll be a show.
All right. Well, let's. So what we decided to do is, now that we've got Secret Invasion, Titanium wanted to kind of rank in order of favorites. Where we see the Disney Plus series that have been out thus far, all the way from the first one, WandaVision, all the way down to Secret Invasion that just finished out. So we're going to rank our favorites top to bottom. And
you want to go top to bottom or bottom to top?
Let's go bottom to top. I think that would be more entertaining.
I would think.
Okay. So number 9. So there are 9 different series thus far. So number 9. What is number 9 on your list?
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Come on, people. I mean, it was review bombed on that shitty review website, the vegetable one. I won't even talk about them because they don't deserve it. But come on, no, not good. the whole series, the whole show just wasn't good. And again, I will say this, and I always state this as a reminder. This is a note that I will go on and argue that little actress, Aman Vellani, unbelievable. She was the highlight.
The more I've seen of her, she's starting to bother me more.
But in that
little
show,
whiny, like the whiny part of Ms. Marvel.
I thought she was great in that show. She was the only good thing about that show. The rest of it was total shit, total crap. Power set, the fact that
the way they changed her powers, the fact
made
that
her
they
mutant,
very rarely used her powers. They really focus a lot on her trips, and
no answer to the bangle, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to get a little of that in the Marvels. Not excited about that. I thought she
got
was
to
the
be
best part of
number 9 on my list as well.
Got it.
All right, what's number 8?
Number 8 is She-Hulk. I just really the way they pussified the Hulk and made him a just not this nice, kind of weak, smaller sized kind of guy. And the first couple of episodes of She-Hulk I thought were kind of cool, like the training.
Oh yeah,
was kind of cool, and I was getting into it. But then it just the ending. Let's talk about a fucked up ending.
So that final episode was pretty bad too, where
and
she goes off into
the
the filming universe of Marvel Comics and goes into the writer's room and all this
and
other
then the
stuff.
robot, the Feige robot, the AI was writing
Kevin or whatever. Yeah.
Just anytime you get a superhero twerking.
Yeah. Well, so number 8 on my list is Secret Invasion, and I did want to say that because of the ending. And again, up until the last episode, I really enjoyed the series or was enjoying it. The final episode really just completely ruined it for me. All the unanswered questions we've talked about at length today. I was just incredibly disappointed. There were parts of She-Hulk I enjoyed more than Secret Invasion. The 2 episodes with Charlie Cox coming back as Daredevil, huge with his new costume, I thought was really great. Again, the training montage with the Hulk in the first episode was awesome. Those would be flopped for me. Number 7 was She-Hulk for me. So what was your 7?
My 7 was Secret Invasion.
Okay, so we just had those 2 flopped.
Yeah.
All right. So what's
again, loved Secret Invasion, liked it, but that ending destroyed it.
Oh, yeah. It's just sour taste. Yeah. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, same with me.
Not a bad show.
No, I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Our biggest problem, the villain in that.
And the plot.
The plot you have to remember, the plot, they had to rewrite the whole fucking thing because
it was a global pandemic.
It was a global pandemic during a global pandemic. Wouldn't really resonate, not really PC, but still not bad. And again, the broker, what was it called?
Power broker.
The power broker, big disappointment.
Yeah, the fact that it was revealed to be Peggy Carter's niece. Just not good.
Now, if that was a Skrull and working for Gravik, that might,
right.
I might be able to get over that a little.
So that's my number 6 as well.
Number 6, okay.
I think the first episode was fantastic. The one where he was flying around as Falcon, and I mean that was great start to the series. There were some special moments. I mean, I just think the chemistry between Bucky and Falcon was great. They really played off each other very well. I enjoyed watching both of them. I think the whole kind of super soldier serum thing, and we had Baron Zemo in it, and so there were aspects of it.
Zemo was awesome.
Aspects of it I really liked.
Walker killed somebody with the Captain America shield,
right?
Iconic.
And we had the Wakandan warriors come back, and there were some really cool parts of this.
Yeah,
but again, I think it really suffered from the rewrites that they had to do for the plot. The Flag Smashers really weren't that compelling of a villain.
Nope.
Again, there were parts of it I really enjoyed, so we'll kind of see.
What do you got at 5?
What If? So
that's what I got.
This is a series that I've actually gone back and watched several episodes of What If, and really realized how much I enjoyed them. Again, the concept of the show coming out of the comic books directly, where they take popular storylines in the Marvel Comics and twist them a little bit and put them on their edge and say, what if this character had this power, or what if this character was the one that was kidnapped by the Ravagers?
Love it.
You know, I just
The
think
zombies.
Really great plot. And the way they tied it all together, I thought at the end was really cool with the battle between Ultron and the Watcher. I thought that last episode, talk about a finale that delivered.
Yeah.
That last episode was awesome.
Yeah.
And I thought the animation style was great. You know, we got Agent Carter and just a bunch of other, or Captain Carter and a bunch of other like really cool characters come out of that. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought it was really good. And I can't wait for season 2. I mean, that's one that's kind of been on hiatus a little bit. Was supposed to come out this year, but has been pushed back a little bit, and whether it's because of animation studio time or whatever. But I'm looking forward to the next season. I
got it at 5. You got it at 5.
Yeah.
Animation, that's pretty high for an animation. So that's
exactly.
Pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you got at 4?
Hawkeye.
Yeah, so do I. God damn it.
Yeah, again.
Talk about tying up a storyline at the end.
Yeah.
The whole Watch tie-in was actually his wife's. She's actually a SHIELD agent. And that
Mockingbird.
How great was that?
Yeah.
That was clever. Great tie-up.
Jeremy Renner, thankfully he's on a road to recovery physically after his massive accident this past winter. But he, fantastic in the series. I thought, the introduction of Yelena Belova, in the series was just well timed and great.
And her chemistry with Hawkeye and what's her name? What's the actress's name? Smoke Show. Absolute smoke
Haley
show.
Steinfeld.
What a smoke show. Their interaction and their chemistry, great.
Yeah, and Haley Steinfeld did such a great job of playing Kate Bishop and kind of the protege to Hawkeye. I thought the series was done really well. Even Echo playing a part in this, and obviously Echo got her own series after this. But I thought it was all done very well. Yeah. I love, and again bringing the Kingpin back from Netflix. This was like the first real interjection of a Netflix character into a Disney Plus property.
And I didn't mind the cliffhanger of him getting shot at the end. And not
perfect.
No, it was perfect.
Yeah, really well done. I enjoyed that very much. It was one that we enjoyed reviewing, so really happy with that. What's your number 3?
Moon Knight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Moon Knight, great. I mean, you go back and look at that. I've watched it twice.
Oscar Isaac is
he's just so phenomenal. Good. Playing a multi-personality person. Now, I had some criticisms when they went to that weird realm and the whole
the Dinuat or something like that. Which was
the
like
ship of the
where the ship where they're basically dead and they're kind of going through the netherworld or whatever.
A little weird. Yeah. I mean, I guess it was
lost us a little bit.
Lost me a little bit.
Like they were there, but they weren't there. They were still in the insane asylum, so it was kind of confusing.
Very.
Yeah.
But I still thought the big CGI fight in the end,
the finale was great.
Was awesome. Tied up everything, and then the little twist with Jake Lockley at the end, brilliant.
Yeah,
I thought I really liked that, and Moon Knight's one of my favorite characters.
Really well done character. I love the way they portrayed the character. I love the way they showed his power set and the way that his powers work. I love the two versions of Moon Knight too, like Mr. Knight, and Moon Knight. That was great. I loved, the fight between the gods and everything was awesome. So it was a home run and a beloved character of both yours and mine, and hoping we're going to get a season 2, if not, a Marvel Knights or Dark, kind of Midnight Suns, type of thing.
Yeah, I'd love to see him in more.
Yeah, we got to see more of him. Number 2,
I got Loki.
I have WandaVision at number 2.
Yeah,
and I kind of figured you would have them opposite, but I mean. And I know why you have WandaVision at number 1. I theorize. It's number 2 for me. And we can just talk about them separately. But Loki, season 1 for me, great cast, great acting, great plot, great finale. Mm-hmm. Introducing Kang the Conqueror as the man, he who remains. The way that series was tied up, very tense episodes in between. Really good writing. Great acting, good interaction between Mobius and Loki the entire time. Yeah. But you kind of find out that Agent Renslayer knew that there was no triumvirate, that was in charge of the TVA, and all this stuff. They were all robots, and it was just
getting pruned to the void. I mean, it was really cool.
It was great, and all the other versions of Loki and everything. I thought it was just so well done, so well acted. And one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to season 2 so much. And WandaVision, I know, it was the first. It was the first series on Disney Plus. It was when we started our podcast, was when WandaVision first came out. The week after we started our podcast, the first episode of WandaVision hit Disney Plus. So it's nostalgic for those purposes. But the early part of the series being these 30-minute episodes that were kind of sitcom-based episodes was great.
Yeah.
But then it morphed into this, holy crap, what's going on, reality.
Really creative, really different.
Bringing back Agent Wu and
I always say that
Darcy
and Agent Wu should have an X-File type show. I think that's a hit.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they should have. Yeah, WandaVision for me was number one. It's just the creativity.
Elizabeth Olsen,
she was great in that. Unbelievable. Just a really, really cool story. Obviously, it's
Agatha.
It spawned
obviously
off all these other shows.
Knowing what's going on and being part of the plot, and taking her powers and then having her powers sucked away.
Right.
It was all very well done, and again, from a nostalgia perspective, obviously, it holds a special place in our heart. But it was just a very well done series, and obviously Matt Shakman, who directed WandaVision, has gone on to bigger and better things. Is now going to be directing Fantastic Four, which is a massive property for Marvel, and the success of what Marvel's got going on, in the future. He's, obviously earned that success, but it was great.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, Professor. Good show, brother.
Yeah.
You get it all off your chest?
I did.
You want to vent
No,
anymore?
we'll wait for the next one.
You want to vent anymore?
We'll wait for the next one.
Are you sure? All right.
Yeah. Hopefully good things to talk about.
Yes.
We got Blue Beetle coming out in a couple weeks, and we'll be able to,
Did you
cleanse
see
ourselves.
that Snyder said something about Blue Beetle? Can't wait to take his kids to that.
Yeah, can't wait to take his kids to see Blue Beetle.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's ring the bell. School's over.
All right, well, that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week for more Super Talk. To get in touch with us on social media, hit us up via email, supertalkpodcast@outlook.com, or at supertalkpod on Twitter. Until then, stay super, everyone.
And boom, we're out.
And we're out.
You're all right?
She gone.
You all right?
Oh, I'm fine.
I didn't want to get your blood pressure up there.
It was already up. What? Why did...
Black Viper. Everyone likes this game. Haters gonna hate. And I know you can't wait to see the Black Viper. Round and round she goes. Hardly no one knows. In her black lady hose. Black Viper.